Hi, welcome to Control Talk Now, your smart buildings videocast and podcast for the week ending January 10th, 2016. I am joined, as usual, by the man, the myth, the legend, the not getting older but getting better, Kenny Smyers from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Man. Kenny, welcome to the show, Big Dog.
Thank you very much, Eric. It's always fun. It's getting so exciting now. I'm squirming in my seat because we've got to cover so much. We have tremendous presence on the show today. We have three fabulous guests, and we also have a rundown of just some of the best products and some of the best people and some of the best solutions in the HVAC business. 2015 was an extraordinary year, and we're going to be encapsulating that to the best of our abilities in preparation of the Control Trends Awards this January 24th at Orlando from 6:30 to 9:30. But we'll go into that.
It's going to be spectacular, Kenny. And listen, we had some more platinum sponsors come on this week, so we want to reach out and thank Amy Dorn from Allerton Controls. They've come on as a platinum sponsor, as well as Scott Cochran and the team at Cochran. And Big Poppy, Ted Houck, has come on. He has got a panel shop that he is going to be selling pre-wired and pre-configured panels to integrators in need. So you'll hear a lot more about that, but a special shout out to all three of them for coming on, and Prolon also came on as a sponsor as well. So the sponsorships are there. I got to tell you guys, when the sponsorship money comes in, the venue gets even better and the models get even prettier. So we really appreciate all our sponsors. And sort of along those lines, Kenny, we just got a lot to cover. If you went to Control Trends last week, you noticed we are doing a lot of posts. We're endeavoring to get as much as we can up on the nominees so that you can make an informed decision. And I tell you, Kenny, the awards have expanded to the point that we originally said that the cutoff was going to be January 15th. We're going to pop that out to January 19th because we got several guests that are lined up to come on the show next week. And we want to give our voters a chance to take a look at them. And so that'll be Tuesday. So you have a chance to watch the show on Monday and make your final voting decision. So it's all good stuff there, huh, Big Dog?
Sure is. I think this is our fourth year of putting on the show. So we've really got some efficiencies going where we could extend the voting period because we weren't under some of the pressures before. But and plus the field is so big. In order to give the people their just presence, we have to get more opportunities because we're so excited because everybody's giving us the material that we can use, the content that we need to present them in the best light to the Control Trends community, and we've got somebody has presented us a very nice packet of information that we're going to be putting up this week on from India, from the Flementech Co. And so it just keeps coming, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, Kenny, I tell you what, let's get right down to it. We got 3 interviews. That's going to take up most of the show. So tell us about our first guest.
Oh, Eric, I'd love to. Our first guest today is Larry Andre Eunice from Honeywell. Larry has a deep background in HVAC that covers both the contracting world and, of course, the manufacturer world, and he knows this distribution as well as anybody in the business. Welcome to the show, Larry.
Welcome, Larry. Glad to have you.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Larry, Eric refers to you as the controls guy's control guy because of your unique background, unique insights, because you felt the pain and the insights from the contractor, and you now are in a very important, prominent position with Honeywell as Director of Commercial Sales. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Having grown up in the controls business, that's probably one of the highest compliments I think someone can give you as a controls guy's control guy. So I don't know if I deserve it, but I appreciate you giving me that title. I like that. I did grow up in the controls business. It's kind of funny, like all kids, when I first started out with my dad had his own business. At a young age, he had me in the garage building panels, going on service calls with him. And I absolutely thought I hated this business. It was too slow. Things took too much time to do. So I had gone to college. I got a degree in electrical engineering, and I went into the high-tech field of semiconductors. It's funny how, kind of like that old story, you let a butterfly go. If it comes back, you've done the right thing. After about 4 years in the semiconductor field, I realized going to the same place and sitting in a little dark room and looking at through a microscope every day probably wasn't all that fun. So, I got to be both a fab engineer there and a process engineer, a product engineer, and learned a ton of stuff, which was kind of good. It's funny how every job you have through life seems to teach you something that you can use in your next career. But came back to the family business. The timing was actually really perfect. It was about the time that, all the controls manufacturers were coming out with DDC controls for the independent contractor channel. So as that came out, that really interested me, piqued my interest, realized that this business had some excitement in it. And so with my background, I was able to offer some value into my dad's company. And the company was kind of stagnant at that point. That gave us an opportunity, like coming back, we decided that we're going to grow the business. So we grew the business. We were having a great time. We set a business plan. We were hitting our business plan marks every year, which was pretty exciting. And about then, the consolidators came into the industry, and we decided they were going to change the industry. So we better figure out what was going on with them. And we started doing our research. Well, ironically, they did their research on us as we were asking them questions and stuff and made us an offer we couldn't refuse. Great way for my dad to retire. Great way to take our company and leap it to the next level. Although, as with acquisitions go, sometimes you find out that you're not as aligned as you thought. But they treated me great, worked there for 4 years, and then I had a real great opportunity to come to Honeywell. It was pretty much the only thing I hadn't done in our industry, right? I'd programmed, I'd installed, I'd been a consulting engineer. I'd done all that. Really, I hadn't been on the manufacturing side and thought, what a great opportunity to do that. So decided that was a great next step, did that, worked in sales for a few years, and then they let me come into product management, designed a bunch of new products, set some direction for where we were going. And that was, when you're a product manager at Honeywell, you touch everything. So it was the best business learning experience I ever had. Manufacturing, finance, engineering, everything, quality. There isn't anything you don't touch in that role. So it's a great role for learning business experience. So after I developed some products and we got those on the markets, I wanted to go live with what I had built, right? It's one thing to build something, but it's another thing to go back out and live with it. So I got back into sales. It was a great opportunity to work and live with the products I built. And it also gave me a great feedback mechanism back into the marketing group. So that's roughly what it is now.
Hey, Larry, Eric here. You know what? I tell you what, please don't estimate being the controls guy, because I tell you what, being a Honeywell customer and our integrators that have had the opportunity to meet and work with you, I think it gives you a perspective that is super, super valuable, because I think you really understand what it's like to be sitting on a bucket at 2 a.m. in the morning when the system won't work and somebody's trying to put you through to telling you to read the manual or whatever. So I think you have an empathy and an understanding for what the integrator and the customer goes through. So please don't underestimate that.
No, I don't. And actually, it's been ironic. It's made my job almost easy at Honeywell, because when I go into a customer and they tell me what their issues are and problems, I fully understand right away. Whereas when other people go in, they think they understand it, but then when you talk to them, it's like they didn't quite get the gist of it. So a lot of times I can even help translate. Here's what they really meant, and here's the real problems they're going through, right? And don't underestimate that, what's something small. This is a big deal at 2 a.m. when you're trying to get a system up and running. It can be a huge deal. Yeah. So it is fun to have that background and perspective. It's helped me a lot.
Larry, talking about the product development and perspective, Honeywell pretty much created the light commercial market with the LCBS. You guys are stepping back into that market in a big time sort of way. Tell us a little bit about what Honeywell's got planned for the light commercial market.
Yeah, that's a great question, because we could have just taken what we had, reorganized it a little bit, stepped back in the light commercial market, and kind of did exactly what we did 10 years ago. But over the past 10 years, there's been a lot of technology change. And we wanted to look at, we took a step back and we wanted to look at how can we add more value throughout the whole process, right? And what lessons did we learn when we came out with LCBS? So the things we're wanting to do and we want to take into account here is there's a lot of technology changes. There's a lot more we have to deal with integration. There's now we're seeing more opportunities with being connected, IoT. How do we take the best of those things and not just IoT or technology for technology's sake? How do we take those things and create and use the things that can add value, right? And how can we add value not just for an end user, but for the contractors, right? How can we give them tools to do advanced diagnostics so these service techs who are out there, know what they're walking into before they walk into it? Every time a service tech walks into a new problem, someone calls and has a problem, they're walking in sight unseen. People can be hostile. And so how do we give them tools so they walk in and they already have an idea what's going on and can save them a ton of time, especially if it's on a customer that's under service contract? Huge savings for them if they already have a good idea what the problem is. Or if they can even diagnose it remotely, it might be, how many times is it not really a problem, right? How many times is it your thermostat was set down or something real, easy like that you could have helped them over the phone and boom, they're happy, right? Mm-hmm. So it's about marrying all those things together, using technology, trying to find more value for both the service customers as well as how do we move back into that space and make it a real cost-effective solution for that marketplace? Because that marketplace is, on the low end, it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to pay big dollars to get a return on investment. So how do we make sure that we can get a product in there at a cost-effective rate that gives them the real return they're looking for?
Well, Larry, I tell you what, I got to cut on this and like to see if you think I'm on the right track, which is, that service-based business is huge, and typically the service-based contractors are very risk-averse, right? I mean, right. Because these service contracts are worth so much money. So to me, it seems like the way things are changing and the way business owners are getting educated so much, among other things, I think your owners are going to want the type of tools you guys are offering and the type of system. So you better be the one offering or somebody else will. But also, the service business, like everything else, is getting squeezed. So it seems like by using a system like Honeywell, even if you're not a quote-unquote buildings control guy, by coming in with a system like yours, you're enabling your cost to serve to go down. So it's going to enable you to stay competitive and what's probably going to be a very competitive market.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? I mean, it's about helping those service contractors who are pushing the edge. They know their retention rates down to the 0.1%, right? And it's all about their retention rates. So it's about their retention rate and, like you said, cost to serve. If we can, reduce their cost to serve, it allows them to be more competitive. They get more contracts. Their retention rates go up as well because they're serving their customers faster, and it makes their renewal process easier, right? So again, another place that they get to return on investment.
Well, very, very cool. And it's kind of unfortunate that the product didn't quite get out in time for being a nominee for the 2015 Control Trends Awards, but I feel pretty sure we're going to be seeing that in 2016. So I'd like to shift gears here and talk a little bit about Honeywell and the Control Trends Awards. So first of all, Ken and I and the whole entire Control Trends community would like to say thank you very much. Honeywell, once again, is a platinum sponsor, and without you sort of enlightened companies like Honeywell helping sponsor this, we don't get to have this event. So first of all, Larry, thank you so much for the sponsorship.
Yeah, and we feel it's a big deal. I want to thank you guys. Our industry, we tend to take granted. We tend to be too proud oftentimes, and we don't toot our own horn, right? And what you guys have done is made a vehicle for our industry to recognize people who are doing great things. This is a huge industry, right? And we do great things. When you can save energy, increase comfort, the increased comfort creates a better return on investment for businesses because their people are more productive. And you even offer, we even get into making healthier living environments that these people are working in. And when you add all those things and think the great things people are doing and how complex the business is, right? No two buildings, even side by side, built exactly the same, operate the same. And so every building we touch is custom. So making those buildings work the way we do, that's amazing. And it's great that I've seen some amazing programs. I've seen some awesome people that have done some unique things in the business to provide those services. And we need to toot our horns. We need to recognize those people who've done a great job. So thank you guys for for doing that and creating that vehicle for people to be recognized.
Well, you're very, very welcome, Larry. And I think one of the things, too, that we're all trying to do is we're trying to attract younger talent into the industry. You know, we've got the Young Guns Award and all that. But just to what you said, I don't think there's any other industry in the world you can go into as a young person, for you young people to listen. You want to save a tree, or you want to save a whale, or you want to change the planet. This is an industry that you can have a direct impact and make it happen, huh?
Exactly. You know, we've been trying to save energy throughout time, right? We've been green before green was cool.
Yeah.
You know, and that's been what our job is. How do we save energy, make things more comfortable at the same time? And it's even more green than just saving energy. We're saving energy, and they don't have to be mutually exclusive. When you save energy, to make people more comfortable.
Exactly.
And that's what's so exciting.
Well, and I tell you what, you know, Honeywell, when you guys come on, I mean, you guys are up for 11 awards this year, because I think to save energy and make an impact, you got to have great products, you got to have great people. And I look at the awards you guys are nominated for, it's a great blend of both. And it's actually 13 if you count your two systems integrators that are up for the Systems Integrator of the Year award. So if you're cool with it, I'd like to sort of go through and let's talk a little bit about it. So, the first one is the Spider Controls up for the VAV Controller of the Year. For our listeners out there, viewers who may not have tried a Spider, what makes the Spider so special?
You know, we kind of found that there was a hole in our portfolio when we first developed the Spider. We had application-specific controllers, and they work great in their application-specific, but there was always this one control scheme or this one additional thing that needed to be done, or somebody wanted to be creative in the way they were doing things. You know, we talked about, exactly these awards, right? How are people creatively using the products in ways we never expected? That's kind of what we wanted to do when we built the Spider. There's so many things you can do with it because we wanted people to not be limited by their creativity in what they could do. So really, in that VAV application for the Spider, the whole idea there was, how do we give them that creativity? But we also bundled in there some of what we call our secret sauce. People look at VAV controllers and think, oh, they're very simple. Throw a PID loop on there and, get it working and all this. If you just throw a PID loop on a VAV system, you could create what I call a perpetual motion machine, right? It's very difficult to tune a VAV and have it react and provide the comfort you want without wearing out the system too much. You're going to be wearing out actuators, you're going to be wearing out everything, you're going to have it hunting. So to create it so that it has the right balance of reaction time when it needs to react, but slowing it down so that it doesn't overreact in a steady state situation is actually quite difficult. I think people really I underestimated it, I think, before we developed that product. So pretty excited about the fact that we've been able to package some of that so that you don't even realize it's tuning some of that for you in the background. It's already been fine-tuned for that, as well as giving you that flexibility to add and create and change some simple things there for you.
And, that means one thing coming from a guy like me, Larry, that, is just more of a theory guy, but it means a lot coming from the controls guy, the guy's actually been out in the field and has tuned VAV controls throughout your career.
Right. And actually something interesting that people don't realize, and here's the thing that we probably do a bad job of explaining is, I always wondered why sometimes we have not enough digital outputs to handle the heating load and all that. What I didn't realize is from all our years of research on thermostats, look at a Honeywell thermostat in your home. It's amazing that it's a single on-off device, right? It's one stage, on-off. And how come your home is so comfortable? That's years and years of modeling on how to control that heating input output so that it predicts at the right amount of time how to control that heat and it doesn't wear out the system. We actually have that built into the Spider that even if you use a single stage of reheat on your VAV box, it's going to operate it in an extremely efficient way to control the temperature in that facility. So you get as much control as you would as a multi-stage. So something we don't probably talk about a lot, but there's so many little things built into that VAV controller that people don't really necessarily see and kind of happens behind the scenes.
Larry, so you got to be excited. Honeywell's RedLink is up for 2 Control Trends Awards categories for the best wireless product and also the best commercial thermostat. Tell us a little bit about the RedLink thermostat.
Yeah, we're kind of excited about this. we kind of rethought our thermostat strategy a few years ago. So many residential thermostats were going into commercial applications, and people didn't realize that the equipment is sized differently, it reacts differently, and you can't provide the level of comfort or energy savings that you get in a commercial stat. So people didn't understand why commercial or not. They may have been on the site and couldn't make that change. So we decided that we're going to put in the same thermostat when you started up the option for commercial or residential. And so, through that process, that started us down that road. And then when they created RedLink for the home application, we realized what a robust wireless solution that is. And it fits so many commercial applications. So as we found people were starting to use it in commercial applications, but what we didn't have was that ability to bring it back to like adjacent stuff. So we created that application so that we could use it in more and more commercial applications where people needed a thermostat. They needed an easy way to get to it, especially retrofit situations. That's where wireless really shines. And the robustness of RedLink was a great combination. You take those two things and we really knocked it out of the park there. And now even the great thing is we're seeing people use it on, commercial applications, light commercial applications, as well as high-end homes. It's a perfect application there.
What really is, Larry, and I tell you what, that sort of leads to our next category, which is you guys are up for the Building Automation Control System of the Year Award. And I just want to sort of frame this up. You can talk about the webs here in just a second, but
sure.
The theme that sort of seems to be developing to me is that you've got products that can start at the very, very low end from, a small residence to a high-end residence. Those products can then be integrated up to light commercial. The light commercial can be integrated up to a full-blown system. And then, of course, you guys, I think, are the only people in the marketplace right now that currently are able to integrate with your own products, access and security, with the J. So speak a bit about the overall system, because it seems pretty darn comprehensive.
Yeah, we jumped into Niagara early, way before we even purchased Tritium, and because we saw the future of integration. And that's really helped us out, because we look at how do we better serve our customer base around the integration piece. And then when you look at it, we try to provide that end-to-end system solution, right? How can we take the same products and provide them all the way up? Because it gives you that bandwidth of things to solve system problems with, right? Everything from a thermostat. You see thermostats in big buildings, right? They're not just for small buildings, but being able to provide that in a large building application is the type of things we look for. So how can we provide that total solution, no matter whether you're in a small building all the way up to a large building? So pretty excited about what we've developed. We created Niagara. One of the things we heard was too many tools. You got 10 tools to do what you want. So we said, okay, how do we embed all our tools into Niagara? Because then it's one tool, right? So it's not the techs going, which tool do I use for this controller? Which tool do I use for that? So we've tried really hard to make it a seamless integration of tools, even to the point where you can leave the tools behind. And no matter who comes in to service that facility, the tools are on site. So when you look at our system, we try to look at the systemness of the system and provide that top-down solution.
Very, very well done. And of course, your variable frequency drive, Larry, is up for another award this year. You guys won a couple of times with that. I got to tell you personally, our Tim Shambly, he takes that Honeywell VFD around and he'll challenge anybody. He'll say, give me 3 minutes and you'll want to buy one of these. And 9 times out of 10, that's direct. I can't tell you how many competitive brands where they go, no, we're standardized on this, and Tim will just make them take 3 or 4 minutes. And you got all kinds of things built into that, including the ability to directly communicate with your system, right?
Yeah, I love that thing. And again, when we look at that, it is about what is your cost to serve? Again, how quickly can you get a drive set up and running? And more importantly, so a lot of our competitors have startup technicians and stuff. We said, how many times have you been sitting on a job and you couldn't get the startup tech to come for 3 or 4 days? Or he came and said, this one wire is out, I won't be back for another week or 2. What does that do for you when you have to get the building up and running, or you have a certificate of occupancy that needs to go tomorrow, or you're going to be fined back, right? We said, how do you control your own destiny? We'll train you, and then we'll give you the authorization to do startup, and we increase your warranty based on that. So, and it's so simple to start up. The people who were starting up competitors' drives go, there's no way you could start up 4 drives in a day. And they're like, I can start up 8 to 10 drives in a day now using yours. It's that simple. I didn't believe it till I did it, right? Like you said. So pretty exciting. We have a lot of built-in tools. We want to be able to integrate it. So we included that as part of our base package because it is part of that total system approach.
Well, very, very cool.
All right, Larry. So Honeywell's got to be excited about being nominated for Best Technical Support as Manufacturer and Best Technical Support Person. Behind a great portfolio of products, you got to have great people. So that's got to be very, very exciting. In particular, we'd like to hear what Honeywell's philosophy is as far as customer service and technical support, and in particular, specifically, John Hutchie. We've used John Hutchie's expertise in just uncountable occasions, and he really is, he can walk the walk. He's one of the sharpest knives in the drawers. Tell us a little bit about Honeywell's philosophy and Mr. John Hutchie.
You know, to me, you can make, doesn't matter how great your products are. If you don't have the people to support them out there, you're going to fail. And we are blessed, I mean blessed, to have some of the best technical support people in the business. So we take that seriously. Matter of fact, John Hutchie is part of my team, and he's part of the whole team. I call them SEAL Team 6.
Nice.
Because I feel so confident in any application, because if we get in trouble, those guys I can send in, and I know they can fix it. And because of what they do and how great they are, and John is the best of the best. I mean, I don't want to live in the Honeywell world without John Hutchie. I mean, he's a great technician, and he helps us on so many levels. But these guys swoop in, save the day, and they've even gone to the level of how do we prevent these things from happening? So they build into training for us how to real world scenarios that they've seen people run into, so that they can train others to not relive those mistakes, right? They go back to engineering and say, this needs to change because too many people are doing it wrong. This will prevent our customers from doing it wrong. And so, you know, we look at our technical support as something we can carry throughout our whole process. And we try now to get them involved in our new products early so that we don't have the problems before they even get to the field. So, and they've even gotten to the point, they continue to increase their technical skills to a level that I never had expected we'd be able to offer. So now we got guys out in the field who are basically developers, right? These guys have developed programs for us that we use in our everyday products. They've gone with customers and they've had a problem, said, oh my God, I got this problem and I've got 1,000 controllers I need to change this one variable on. And they've written a little application for them that'll go out and automatically do it for them, saving them amazing amounts of time. John was just telling me how he wrote a little application for one of our partners, Easy, who's one of our biggest systems integrators, does a great job, and they had that exact problem, and he wrote a little application for them. Man, if that isn't differentiation for your customers, I don't know what is. So
that's great stuff.
Just a great guy.
Well, and I tell you also, you know, you got the great people, you got the great products, you got the great leadership. I know you're one of the leaders at Honeywell, and your Larry Weber is up for the HVAC Executive of the Year Large Manufacturer. He follows in the footsteps of previous winners, Mike Keller and Tom Rosbach. What can you tell our community about Larry Weber?
Well, first, think about that. That's a great group to even be nominated into. Larry Weber, you know, this is like a Cinderella story when you think about his career. You know, he started out on the Honeywell hotline. You know, when you start a job like that, your dream is to run the Honeywell brand. So he started out there. He's been in all different kinds of marketing positions. He was in the OEM marketing leader position for a while, and he got tapped on the shoulder when he was talking to the president one day and said, they were talking about growth in China, and the president said, and Larry said, man, that China market totally excites me. I'd love to be a part of that someday. And he said, come back to me tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with a business plan.
Wow.
In typical Larry Weber fashion, he stayed up all night. He cranked out an awesome business plan. And Andreas went through it with him and said, okay, can you leave by the end of the week?
Wow.
He puts his family, goes to China. He does a great job. I went out there and visited him during my product management days to make sure I understood the market needs. What he was doing out there was phenomenal. He comes back. He provides a lot of different roles for us, again, strategic marketing role, and then gets tapped on the shoulder for his dream job. He'll tell you it's a job he always wanted. He's excited to be in that role, and he's trying, and he's leading the charge on this LCBS thing because he sees that if we do this right, it totally changes our industry and the way we do things. So real excited about it. He's really driving hard. I mean, this guy works tirelessly night and day. I mean, 2 a.m, I'll see emails coming in from him. I mean, he really is living his dream.
I really like Larry a lot. He's he's very articulate, a very personable guy, interesting guy. So I encourage our community, if you ever get a chance to either spend time with Larry Weber or Larry Andrianis, you got to check these guys out. And I know you're going to be at the Control Trends Awards. Hopefully Larry Weber will be down there as well, because it'd be a great opportunity for our Control Trends community to meet both of you. And sort of speaking of that, you, my good friend, were chosen by the Global Control Trends community as a finalist for the PID Award, which to me is a very prestigious one. It's passion, integrity, and dedication. And Honeywell's Roger Rebenak was the inaugural winner of that. And I think most of our listeners that know about the award just hearing Larry speak probably says everything you need to know. But so I wanted to congratulate you on that, Larry, and so just fantastic with that. Congratulations.
When you're thought of in the same light as Roger, who, that passion is if I could bottle his passion up and sell it, I could do anything I wanted in the world, because he exemplifies that award. So I'm just honored to be in that same group. I know Ed Merwin and a lot of others that are in that group. Just to be recognized in that same group that I might potentially be, that is just an honor. So I feel like I've already won. So thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Last thing I want to just sort of touch on real quick, 2 of Honeywell's systems integrators, and Honeywell goes through two-step distribution, which obviously as a distributor, Kenny and I very much appreciate, as well as your distribution network. So I don't know whether you caught it, but 2 of them. And again, the systems integrator of the year was kind of interesting, Larry, because Kenny and I didn't nominate anybody. We had over 80 integrators that were nominated. Okay, we chose the top 7, but that in that top 7 were 2 of yours. John Donahue, controls consultant, his integrator, Navitas Systems, was one of the finalists. And then down in Texas, Scott Toomey, their integrator, Control Systems Consultants out of Dallas, Texas, was another. So anything you got to say about those guys?
This is where Control Trends is great. I've watched both of these companies from initiation grow and become the great companies they are. And it's funny because so many people underestimate the value that the relationship that the distribution channel can bring when you team properly with the contractors, right? Some people use them in different ways. Some people use them as their technical resource. Some people use them as their procurement, right? It takes that level of load and burden off them and say, here's the job I have to do. Help me find the right products and put those together for me. And it's that relationship and that sharing when they get to work like these 4 companies have, right? When they work together the way they do, they become an unstoppable force. So people always look at it from a single perspective of, yeah, but it might cost a little more. But it doesn't cost more if you actually get the value out of that relationship. And as a matter of fact, they look at it as a true competitive advantage, those companies, right? They've got a partner that is looking out for them and looking over their back and doing the things that, they don't want to be out there selecting parts and all that. They don't want to be looking at that stuff. They want to be out making the technical stuff happen. And so it allows them the freedom to go focus on the things they love to do best. So, no, both those companies, I've had the opportunity to work in both those territories a lot and to watch both those companies come up and provide the kind of services they have. And they've grown at such a great, solid rate, right? You see people who can blip, grow huge, and then they disappear in a few years. These guys have grown solid every year. They've stayed with their plan, and they continue, and they've increased their customer base, and increased it because their customers are satisfied with the work they're doing and have recommended them to other customers. So I'm excited to have them represent us. That is a great team to represent the Honeywell and the Honeywell trade channel into the marketplace.
Hey, Larry, man, thank you so much for taking time. Look forward to seeing you in Orlando, and good luck.
We'll be there, and I look forward to seeing and meeting everybody down there. Thanks, Eric.
Kenny, great to hear from Larry. I mean, he is truly the controls guy, and we are really appreciative of Honeywell for their platinum sponsorship. They they always step up to the plate. So we appreciate those guys. And Kenny, let's take a minute before we bring our next guest on, and let's look at one of the people categories this week. Let's look at the Executive of the Year, large manufacturer and small manufacturer. Let's start with the small manufacturer, and that's just size that they sell stuff. Has nothing to do with how big these guys are in terms of being industry giants. So who do we have as our finalist? Some of the nominees.
We have Mr. Jason Briggs from J2 Innovations, Gordon Chan from EasyIO, Terry Schwen from ACI, Sarah Monteleone from Connectair, Eugene Mazzo from DG Logic, Phil Dunkenberger from Blue Ridge Technologies, Mike Sabonash from Viconics Technologies, and Terry Swope from Linksprint. You talk about an all-star team. It sounds like if I was going to go with, if I had to pick an entourage of people to help move out and clean up a problem, situation, manufacturing, I would pick these guys because you're looking at the top guys in management of economics, started factories up from scratch, the top people in visualization, data management, accessories. You're talking about the lighting experts. You're talking about one of the best thermostats in the world. And then you're talking about a well-rounded company like Linkspring that does all of everything very well.
Well, we've covered most of these executives on Control Trends. We just last week, J2 Innovation sent us a video that gives you a good view into Jason Briggs and what a cool dude he is from J2 Innovation. So be sure to check that out on Control Trends. We've had Terry Swope from Linkspring, one of our favorite people in the industry. Straight shooter, visionary, and of course Gordon Chen from EasyIO. Gordon's kind of a shy guy. I mean, it's hard to get him in front of the camera, but I tell you what, he really makes things happen at EasyIO and empowers guys like Lim and Mad Mike Marston. So another great choice there. And of course, Troy from ACI. I mean, those guys get recognized over and over in the Wisconsin community for all that they do. And Viconics, need you say any more? I mean, that thermostat and how they go to business is fantastic. And Eugene Mazzo, one of our all-time favorites from the Men in Black. So
don't forget Sarah.
Well, I was saving the best for last, dude.
Good
Sarah is, I tell you what, if you haven't had all right, let me just put it to you this way. If you're not buying your wire and cable from Sarah, you're missing an opportunity to deal with one of the best people in the world. We love you, Sarah. And I am being biased here. I'm probably breaking all the voting rules, but Sarah is just really, really good people with Connectair, wire and cable. And again, somebody that's very modest. I mean, she's the type of person that's going to be behind you, pushing you forward. She's going to be the person that's going to be in front of you, shining the spotlight on you. But she doesn't like to have the spotlight shined on her very much. She's just, very modest that way. But I tell you what, great people. You're going to get to meet them at the 2015 Control Trends Awards in Orlando. You're going to get to rub elbows with these folks. So I don't know how you're going to choose in that category. And the only tougher choice might be for the large manufacturer. Who do we have large manufacturer-wise, Kenny?
Well, you said so much there that's very good. And just to cycle back, they're all winners. They're all extremely competent executives, because that's what the problem is with the making it, not making it, is the leadership and inspiring your people, motivating your people. And in this day and age with the generation X, Y, Z workers and all the problems you face economically, they do such a magnificent job day in and day out. And as you said, the only difference between those folks and the next set of folks are the corporation sizes. This is a 40 million plus. We have the Control Trends Executives of the Year, large manufacturer. We start off with Mr. Lars van der Hagen from Belimo, Nino DeCosmo from Tritium, Larry Weber from Honeywell, John Nichols from Delta Controls, Chris Eichmann from Johnson Controls, Scott Hamilton from Siemens Building Technologies, and Paul Clark from Schneider Electric.
What a group, Kenny. What a group. So let's start with John Nichols. We don't really know much about John, but, Delta is such a well-run company. But, you look at all the people that are nominated from Delta, and from what we hear about them, they've got a great reputation. So let's roll on to Lars van der Hagen from Belimo.
Well, Lars, he was North American Belimo, or Belimo Americas for many years, and now he is actually the CEO and he's the top executive of Belimo, the global Belimo out of Switzerland. And you talk about growth, you talk about continued leadership, and you talk about global presence. Belimo, has just, they've taken the technologies that they're good at and they've become the standard. So,
well, and I think, we accused Belimo of, Lars, I interviewed him. There's an interview with Lars on Control Trends from last week. We sort of accused him of inventing the future. They're very, very focused. And personally, I think about Lars is, some people, they get promoted and they just, they're not accessible. Lars is one of the most accommodating, down to earth, coolest, most brilliant people you'll ever meet. And, and I think that's a trend we see with most of these executives is that they're very accommodating. They're good folks, right? They're people you'd hang out with. And Lars is certainly, at the top of that category, as well as a guy named Chris Eichmann from Johnson Controls. And Chris actually has won the Executive of the Year before, so it's not surprising to me that he's in the hunt again. But again, a brilliant guy, Kenny, that gets the job done and somebody you'd want to have in your foxhole in a war, right? Chris is just that type of a guy.
Or quarterback in your huddle. Well, the thing about it is that, again, we're talking these names, and you just can't go easy with these names. These are the biggest names in the control business on a global scale. And Johnson has, year in and year out, consistently revamped their programming. They just went through a channel organization, I believe, in 2015. And from what I hear, things are working out very well. But, they're leaders in customer support. They're leaders in product development. They're leaders, and they have a fabulous thermostat. But to manage all these evolving projects and to make them all come together seamlessly and have that synergy that takes your whole company to the next level requires, just fabulous endurance and talent.
Well, and we heard a little bit about Larry Weber from Honeywell from our interview just previously with Larry Andrianis. And again, just another great guy. And if you heard, like in the interview, Larry's story about how Larry Weber actually started out in tech support, set his goal on eventually running the channel, and he worked through that. So it's just a super guy. I really like Larry Weber a lot as well. And so, and Paul Clark from Schneider Electric, I believe, right? We don't know Paul, but it's interesting because he was nominated, written in by the Control Trends community, and Kenny did some research. He's actually with Schneider Electric in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. So our worldwide community has a choice, it seems, at least in Asia, in Paul Clark from Schneider Electric. So we'd love to get him on the show if time permits before the voting ends. And finally, we had our gentleman from Siemens.
Scott Hamilton.
Yeah, Scott Hamilton from Siemens.
I think we met him the previous show. You're right, Eric. It's some of it's just not as many hours in a day as we need, and sometimes we need to get a little bit of help. If somebody from Siemens can help us get some information that we could do a good bio scan on Scott, we need to do some catch up because, like you say, we rely sometimes on what we're given and provided for. So. But we'll come back. I imagine we'll probably, again, that's why we extended some of the time periods here, is to get all these people the visibility that they deserve as an executive and as a finalist. Now, again, I want to emphasize that we want to emphasize that anybody on this list is a winner. There can't be, it's impossible for everybody to win, but I'll tell you what a
list.
What a stellar group of people.
So, and Kenny, last but not least, we have Nino DeCosmo. Nino was the winner last year from Tritium. And I tell you what better way to sort of get the 411 on Nino and the rest of the team. Let's bring our next guest on and introduce Ed Merwin, Kenny, and we'll find out more about Nino from Ed.
Eric, we have the opportunity and the pleasure to talk with Ed Merwin. He is the director of the Vicon Automation Energy Security at Tritium, and one of the most venerated and knowledgeable people in the building automation and system software business. Like you always refer to Ed as the godfather of controls or automation. Many of us our first introductions and our first engagement with integration was with Ed Merwin.
So, hey, Ed, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Always fun to talk to you guys.
Oh, it's great to talk to you too, Ed. And listen, man, Tritium is on the move. Let's start right off with the big announcement. You guys got the conference coming up in New Orleans. First of all, congrats, great location.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. We spent a lot of time looking for the right location. We got a great partner down there to work with as far as the events that we're going to have. We have a great space. We have plenty of room. We're going to have the entire facility to ourselves, and we have plenty of room. And then in New Orleans is an exciting place to be. We've had some great times in Las Vegas, but the people have been telling me they're really excited that we're now going to be in New Orleans, right there downtown. so people can come in and have a good time there. But also we got some very, very serious content this year, and we're excited about it as we're deep into the planning right now. So.
Well, I tell you what, you guys, you have really been on a move.
Ed, it's very exciting to see the Niagara 4 and the Jace 8000 come into being. Tell us about the next generation controller, this Jace 8000. I mean, we know a little bit about it, but what are the major improvements of the Jace 8000 and Niagara 4?
Well, you know, over the years we built hardware. You know, we focused. We always had the software, but we built multiple hardware platforms to contain the software. Well, now we're going just the opposite. Now we're going to say we want one single platform that we build, but we also want and encourage other people to build hardware platforms to run Niagara, because we really are a software company. So the Jace 8000 is a beautiful platform, is extremely powerful. But what's nice about it is we decided that it makes it easy for somebody just to have one hardware platform on the shelf, and they can actually sell it as we used to sell a Jace 3 with a few points on it. So we can go anywhere from selling a system with 50 points up to 5,000 points on the same hardware platform. And with the pricing model, you basically can sell a very small job at the same price you did with the Jace 3, or sell a large job and not have to worry about keeping individual pieces of hardware on the shelf. So it allows you to keep that one nice hardware platform there. You can start small and you can add capacity via points and devices, or you can start large. So you don't have to worry about having you could have 3 devices that use a tremendous amount of memory and there's no constraints. So you can have 3 great devices doing all kinds of neat stuff and not worry about whether you're going to worry about processor power. So it's really where we're headed. And then, by the way, we're working on portability. So again, other partners who want to build their own hardware, they can do that. I was just with one of our engineers, and he showed me he loaded Niagara onto a Raspberry Pi device.
Wow.
So we've actually got the portability set so that we can encourage people to build their own hardware. We're going to focus on software, but also provide a default, first-class hardware platform. Just some great features like built-in Wi-Fi, built-in security, the ability to take out a SD card and move it from hardware platform to hardware platform when you're changing it out. So just a lot of nice thought went into it, and basically all of it was based on feedback from the Niagara community.
Okay, so Ed, that's all great stuff, and I am very, very, very impressed with the Jace 8000 and the portability. The built-in features are amazing. But Niagara 4 and Tritium's on the move. We also know that you're introducing another extraordinary option available for the Niagara community is the Niagara Marketplace, premiering in early 2016. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the Niagara Marketplace is really exciting because end user customers kept telling us, I really want to go to one place and see everything that's about Niagara. So I know to go to the Tritium webpage and I want to see about a Jace and I want to see a Joe on Niagara, but what about all these people that are adding unique features to Niagara? What can we do with that? So where can we go and see everything that's based on Niagara, similar to how somebody goes to the Apple Store, the App Store, the Android Store? So the cool thing about the marketplace is anybody who builds on Niagara can now open a storefront in the Niagara Marketplace and advertise. So we have people that have already signed on there. People like ControlCo are up there selling some of their drivers and some of their features. Active Logics now has Periscope up there. So it's this whole idea of these third-party interactions where people can sell drivers, they can sell hardware if they want that's compatible, they can sell training services. So the idea is one end user, such as a consulting engineer, can go say, you know what, I've got a project, I need a really good energy dashboard. Let me go to the Niagara Marketplace and see all the dashboards that are out there that are compatible with Niagara in one spot. So we're real excited about it. We're populating it right now as we speak. It's available. If anybody wants to join the marketplace right now, they can join in. It's really a very cost-effective place to advertise what you're doing with Niagara and just get exposed to the community. So.
Very, very cool. Well, Ed, Eric here, I want to shift gears a little bit because, like I said, you guys have done some great things this year. And as you know, the 2015 Control Trends Awards are coming up Sunday night, the week of AHR. It's going to be the biggest show ever, and a large part to companies like you and people like you who came on as platinum sponsors. So first of all, thank you so much for your sponsorship and support of the 2015 Control Trends Awards.
Well, we really appreciate a venue where people concentrate at ASHRAE on smart buildings and control systems, right? So much of it's really about technology, and we really have to focus on the technology at ASHRAE now. And in our business, we've always been that little BAS group that's in the back of the hall. Now I think it's really we're getting the focus that the industry deserves because we make everything work. So it's pulling all this great hardware, software, and systems together at ASHRAE, and I think it's great that Control Trends has taken the lead to expose that to the general community.
Well, thanks very much, Ed. And listen, you guys are up for 7 awards this year. Let's take a look at some of these categories you guys are in. And the first one is obviously the building analytics software of the year, which I thought was really interesting. And I think one of the things Niagara 4 has built into it is an analytics package. Speak a little bit about that.
Well, actually, we have it built into AX. We released it first on AX. And, this was, I think what's unique about this is a technology that was developed by one of our partners, and we acquired that technology and built on it because the community's just done a great job. So our great partners at ControlCo had built out some software, and we saw that, this is something they've really done a great job on. Let's take that in-house and let's ingrain it even more into Niagara. So basically the Niagara framework, it's not just an application. To analytics to Tritium is a framework. So it's the Niagara Analytic Framework. So the whole idea is not only do we have analytics engines and analytics rules, but third party enhance it like they do Niagara today and build more into it. So analytics, people will tell you we've been doing analytics for years, right? The old codger in the boiler room who's been tweaking the boiler for 20 years, he's doing analytics, but he's doing analytics in his head. Mm-hmm. So we want to take that great information that's out in the community and we want to make it automatic. That's really what we're trying to do with analytics. So we're taking the long view of analytics and building it in, and analytics can be very complex, and we understand that for special projects, but what we're trying to do is make Niagara Analytics available for everybody. Just like we did originally came out with the Niagara Framework, we made the Niagara Framework programming for non-programmers. Well, we want to make analytics as easy as we do building a web page today in the Niagara Framework. We want it built in. So that's where we're moving with it. We're spending a tremendous amount of time. We've already released 1.0. In the next 2 weeks, we're going to release 1.1. And then also we're releasing Niagara, which works in AX and will work on N4. But then we have a next release after that that's going to totally ingrain analytics into everything we do with Niagara 4. So we're very excited about that.
Well, very cool. And it sort of makes sense with Niagara 4. The Global Control Trends community nominated you guys for another category, which is very interesting, I think very, very befitting, which is the Innovative Product of the Year. So congratulations on that. And just what you said and all the features with Niagara 4, that makes a lot of sense to me. And then I want to move down to sort of the next category. These two kind of go together. You guys are nominated for Best Technical Support, Large Manufacturer, and you're James Johnson, who I think has won every year for Best Technical Support Person, Large Manufacturer, is up for an award too. Speak a little bit about James and also about sort of Tritium's approach to technical support.
Well, I think we built our company based on wanting to do the right things for customers. So since we started, we always wanted to make sure that we want to make people successful. So our mantra is, what are you doing for me, but what can Niagara and what can Tritium do to make companies successful? And really, James Johnson, he's the one that makes it happen. James is out there to help customers, whether it's an end user customer, system integrator, system integration distributor. James is out there to help grow their business and help them understand the technology to take care of customers. So James is built in his DNA. And James is not only super technical proficient, but he's so, customer friendly. He gets along with everybody. He enjoys going out and working with people and making them successful. So I think why James gets nominated and put it every year is just because he really enjoys helping the community grow. and whether it's being on the Niagara Forum and doing thousands and thousands of responses there, or if you've ever had him out on a job site, or you ever had him at a presentation for his training, for his Vicon Pro training, it just shows. And now I think he set the standard, and there's some great other people that are doing that in the industry now. So we're real happy that I think James has kind of set the standard, and more people are doing, trying to do the things that James does.
Right.
So I just can't speak enough about him.
I think you're right about that. I think if you're trying to create a great technical support person, I think James Johnson has got to be the standard you measure yourself by. So congratulations to James. Wish him well on that. And of course, the next one is the PID award, which is for passion, integrity, and dedication. And you guys have somebody up for that category that you might be familiar with. What can you tell us about Ed Merwin, who is one of the finalists there?
Well, I really appreciate that. I've been fortunate to win it, and to be honest with you, I think there's so many people that deserve this award. It's almost tough to, and I think I went along with Mike Marston. I mean, there's so many people. Everybody that was on that stage that year was nominated really deserves to win. So, I really appreciate it. It's something that I enjoy doing, and I think there's so many passionate people in this industry that, I'm just fortunate enough that I tend to get out there and meet a lot of people. So I frankly, got votes that other people deserve just as well as I did. So, I do really appreciate it.
Yeah, so. You're right, Ed. And there are a lot of great people in this industry, which is, one of the reasons Kenny and I want to do the Control Trends Awards. We really want the rest of the world to know how many incredible people we have in our industry. And Kenny and I will tell you, and we've had discussions amongst a bunch of us. If it wasn't for you, we're not sure that Tritium would be where it is. I mean, you were the evangelist early on. I think one of your skill sets, Ed, is taking the complex and making it understandable and simple. I think your dedication, you being out there, really created this market for all of us. I'm not sure that Tritium exists today, especially at least not in the form it is with as many players if it's not for you. So I commend you for that.
Well, I appreciate that, but they made it easy on me when to go out. I've been at the Tritium side. I've been in the business a long time, but I've been at Tritium since 2000. So they made it easy on me because I'm just selling the great people at Tritium. Yeah. So I'm selling the James Johnsons of the world for support. I'm selling the Kevin Williamson, who manages our tech support group here. I'm selling the engineers, the John Sublets of the world. It's easy when you have so many people backing you to be passionate and to be able to do that. I just happen to be the front man for it, to be honest with you.
You got the handsome face, and you're out there making it happen.
Well, yeah, right. But the gray hair now. But but I just want to point out to everybody, it is something that is really a lot easier to do when you love what you do and you have such great relationship with all the great people. It's really about the people that built Tritium and the Niagara framework, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go out there and do this. So it's really great.
Well,
but I don't want to.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I really think that it comes down to there's so many other great people doing that. I really appreciate being nominated. I almost think that with so many people in the industry, it might make sense. You know what? You retire your jersey after you win it once and let another good group of people come in and make the play there. But I certainly appreciate the loyalty of the end users and the customers who I've had the great chance to be associated with in this industry. So it's really an honor every year.
Well, Ed, thank you so much for that. And I think, behind every great company is great leadership. And our last category, Nino DeCosmo, who won Executive of the Year last year, large manufacturer, is up again. He's nominated by the Control Trends community again this year. Speak a bit, if you will, about Nino, man. You talk about a guy who sort of fast-tracked things and really learned our industry quickly and I think really fostered a lot of respect for the industry. What can you tell us about Nino?
Well, first of all, it's just the way he came in. He came in willing to learn, and I will tell you, early on in his tenure, the first thing he did was got on the road with our customers. I mean, he literally, our friend Scott Cochran took him out for 3 days,
right,
just showing them customers and introducing them to people. So Nino is somewhat unique in that he spent so much time trying to learn the business and learn what the issues are. He really understands technology, probably one of the best technologists in the whole corporation from understanding technology and the effects of software, and comes with great experience. But he wanted to learn the customer set, who are our many diverse Niagara customers, and by having that background, he's been able to come back and say, okay, these are the resources I need to get for the company to make sure we put out really great products that the customers want. So that's what Nino has done, and has done a great job, is being a great leader, but also understanding the technology that it takes to be a great leader. So I tell you what, he's really done something else. He's getting resources for us, our growth. He's been able to get great investment for us. So I think that's what really makes a great leader.
Fantastic. We've been talking with Ed Merwin from Tritium. Tritium's up for 7 awards. If you haven't voted yet, make sure to vote. The voting ends January 15th. Check these guys out. Ed, thank you so much, and good luck in the 2015 Control Trends Awards.
Thanks again to you and Kenny for doing this. It's great to see the growth of Control Trends, how it's gone totally international. It's become the de facto place to discuss what's going on with trends, and the educational effect has been great. So always great to be with you folks, and keep on doing what you're doing.
Thanks so much, Ed.
Thank you very much.
Kenny, as you know, one of the new categories we have this year is the Control Trends Systems Integrator of the Year, and I am really pumped up about this, Kenny, because, we didn't nominate any of these folks. We had over 80 nominees that the Control Trends community put in during the nomination process. The top 7 made the finals, and let's break that category down a little bit. We've had some of them already on the show, and we're endeavoring to have them all on the show before the voting ends. So who are our finalists for the Systems Integrator of the Year?
Another amazing cast of competency. Hepta Systems, ATS Seattle, Automation Integrated Oklahoma City, Control Systems Consultants Terrell, Texas, Alpha Controls and Services Illinois, McKinney's out of Atlanta, Georgia, and Novitas Systems Integrations out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, Eric.
So, hey, Kenny, we've had Control Systems Consultants out of Terrell, Texas. We've had Novitas Systems. We've had Automation Integration. And Hepta System have all been on our Control Trends community's had a chance to meet all of them. We are set up and scheduled with ATS for Monday, and we'll be interviewing Alpha Systems hopefully on Tuesday. So I'm really pleased to say that we were invited by McKinney's, Leroy Walden, to come down and interview them actually at their facility. So a special thanks to Rob Allen. Rob shot and edited the video you're about to see. So without further ado, Kenny, take a look at what McKinney's is all about. One of the finalists for the 2015 Control Trends Systems Integrator of the Year. I was fortunate enough to be invited down to visit Atlanta-based McKinney's. I'd like to introduce Leroy Walden, an old friend, and Stephen Johnson, a new friend. Hey, man, guys, first of all, congratulations. I mean, you're one of the top finalists from the global Control Trends community.
That's awesome. Wow. That's awesome. Fantastic. We're honored, Eric. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the Control Trends community that really thinks a lot about us and thinks a lot about products and thinks a lot about services. So it's a real honor to be a part of the community.
Leroy, you and I go way back, but
we don't have to tell how old we are, Eric.
Well, I'm like 29. Leroy's a good bit older than me.
33. I'm 12.
Yeah, you can tell in the South we have a little bit different proportions of things. But Leroy, tell our listeners a little bit about the history of McKinney's.
I appreciate that, Eric. Your company and our company kind of really go hand in hand back in the Atlanta marketplace. Been around quite a while. Yeah. Our company incorporated in 1948. And we started off really as a services-based company. We were in the tire recapping business, quite honestly. And over the years, our business morphed based upon the marketplace and the requirements and what our customers' needs were. And so essentially, as that time passed, we got into the heating and air conditioning business and ultimately the full-service mechanical contracting business. So now we're really fully integrated: design, build, construction, construct, service, maintain, operate, mechanical contractor, totally integrated company.
Well, it's great. And our companies go way, way back. My dad, we started our business in the 1950s, and he was friends with John McKinney, who's third generation, his grandfather, and my father was also very good friends with David McKinney, John's dad. So I think one of the things you can say about McKinney's is that, and you guys have been around for a long time, and looking around, think you guys are going to be around for many, 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 many more generations.
You're right, and that's really kind of appropriate that we're talking about that right now, Eric, because we're in the process within our own organization here in our automation and controls business, our systems integration business, of actually being in a succession mode right now.
Sure.
Stephen Johnson, who is my operations manager, more recently has just been promoted to the position of profit center manager.
Sure.
Very cool.
Stephen, did you want to say any words?
No, what an honor it is to be nominated. I like to think of, if you think of McKinney's, I like to think of it like your very favorite restaurant. You go there because it's comfortable. You love the product. You know what kind of service you're going to get, and it feels like home. So as we think about our customer base, what can we do? What can we offer? How much can we give them to just make them think, man, I really feel great about. I can do plumbing services. I can do, security services. I can do controls. I can do, mechanical services there. So we like to offer that and just help our customers to feel at home, help them to feel great about what we're doing there.
So I think one of the advantages to that, and again, I can attest personally because we do a lot of business with you guys, and I don't mean to bias our voting community, but I wouldn't say this if it wasn't true, but you guys are known for quality work, and I think the advantage of that is that an owner, he's got one phone call he's got to make, right? Sole source responsibility with that. So you guys do a great job with that. So speak a bit. So Leroy, you've been around for quite some time. So tell us a little about your controls background, and then Stephen, I want to hear about yours.
Sure. I started off in the controls business in 1978 with Robert Shaw Controls, and at that time, automatic controls were pneumatic, electric controls. And over the years, I've been able to kind of witness the emergence of automated and computerized based control systems from the mini computer days to the PC level days, all the way up to the distributed level internet based controls that we've got. We were one of the earliest Tritium systems integrators. We actually signed our first Tritium systems integrator agreement in 1999, in April of '99. And I knew then what the genius of that product was and what it was going to do to our marketplace. And we've lived that out. We've seen it now going into its third generation, from the original all the way up to now to the AX and now to the N4. And every step of the way, we've been very focused on that as a product because it's a unifying platform for us. Our mechanical contracting and mechanical services business, we're very much non-product focused as it relates to Carrier, Train, Lennox, Johnson, whoever the mechanical equipment is. It's what's right for the customer's job.
Sure.
But our focus has been, how can we create a cohesive and comprehensive system integrating those products together? And the Tritium platform has given us that true, I'm going to say, a miracle of the marketplace to give us that ability to tie those different products together.
When you talk about integration, it's almost like you guys aren't just integrating disparate control systems. You guys are integrating disparate systems within the building, when you mentioned from the mechanical to the plumbing to everything else. Now, Leroy, and I got to toot your horn a little bit. You were the one that sort of came in and really set the controls department up here. And that was how many years ago that you set the...
In 1997, I began here as a project manager within our building services group, and I had a list of accounts of people that I was working with. Some of them Eric, because they're customers that you and I served for quite a number of years. Where I had some controls and automation opportunities. And what we also found over the years is that as our mechanical service team were out in customer facilities, working on their facilities, as more and more microprocessor-based controllers became embedded in those pieces of equipment, it became incumbent upon our people to be at the top of their game in controls and control service. So it's just kind of a natural evolution for the mechanical service business here that I came on board at the time that I did, in 1997, and was actually able to take the group that we had assembled here as top-notch chiller, boiler, HVAC mechanics that already had a big exposure to controls and automation, and bring that group to a higher level.
Well, it's also great talking about the evolution now. You mentioned today that Stephen is now taking it to the next level. I know you're going to be still very actively involved in the business.
Yeah. I got lots of stuff to pay for yet, Eric, so I can't go anywhere.
I hear you. But Stephen, tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I started doing mechanical type engineering property work back in '96 at one of the sister businesses here in Atlanta. Grew up doing some controls, did electrical, plumbing, really got involved in property management and that kind. So I also had the privilege of taking a little bit different path from Leroy, because I went to the greatest customer service school in the world, and that is Chick-fil-A headquarters. So merge his amazing experience doing controls and integration with the lessons and the learnings that I had at almost 20 years at such a great organization. So he and I work beautifully together at how do we best customize the best needs that we can meet for those customers there. So,
Eric,
double threat.
A dimension that Stephen brings is really a true advantage. He was involved in corporate security for quite a number of years. And we're talking about personnel security, but also as far as facility asset security. And so that's a dimension that we've been growing. That's a component of our integration that's been a real growing facet for us. And we're really happy to have Stephen come on board to help us out and get that started.
Yeah, and you guys might know our Control Trends community is very familiar with Fred Gordy and
Good
Fred,
friend.
good friend, and Fred speaks so highly of you. And as you know, Fred's his passion was security.
He brought to us a hunger for the importance of data and data integration in systems. He worked here for quite a number of years. Stephen and I both can say that we consider Fred a very close and personal friend and a great mentor for us because he's gone now toward the cybersecurity and he's giving us great insight as to what we need to be doing in that area.
But I think there's sort of a theme that goes on because, Fred was doing cybersecurity with you guys. In other words, McKinney's was being, aware of cybersecurity and what was going on before it was cool.
Right.
Sure.
So, there tends to be sort of a trend here, if I'm not reaching too much, that you guys seem to see where the future is going. I attribute a lot of this to you, or you see where the future is going. You guys get on early. Yeah. And I think you guys were one of the first people, for example, to start using BIMs very actively with your...
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's a part of our integrated construction approach. We work very closely with our general contractor and design engineer community where we basically take the design and we want to make sure that the product that we put in, we've engineered cost out. We don't want wasted effort. We don't want collisions in the ductwork, the piping. And when you look at it, the stuff that we do, the big pipe that we put in, the big duct that we put in, those take up a lot of space in a lot of the confined space.
You make a mistake on that, you're way behind the 8 ball.
Thousands and thousands of dollars. So not only do we spend a fantastic amount of time on the design aspect of it, but we have converted our product assembly procedures to more resemble manufacturing. So we actually, if you get a chance, if you do get the chance to come and visit us here in our Atlanta headquarters facilities, take a look around our facilities because they look more like a manufacturing plant than they do a sheet metal shop or a pipe shop or a plumbing shop. We're really focused on driving unnecessary cost out of the job and driving higher value into the job.
And doing it up front.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So talk about, looking around here, it's massive here. How many people do you have in your department, for example?
We have 65 great men and ladies and families here that we get the opportunity to work with. Talking about the families that work here, a lot of these families, much like myself, have the privilege of I was McKinney's customer before I was McKinney's employee. So I understand, great companies attract great people. So the men and ladies that we have working here are just first class. So it's a privilege.
Overall employment for the company right now is centered around 1,700.
Yeah.
So.
And you guys serve, I know you have an office in Charlotte, but what sort of territory do you guys serve?
For our Atlanta headquarters, we're doing projects right now as far south as Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
And we're actually doing a project right now in mid South Carolina.
Right.
And so we've got a fairly good sized backyard. We've done projects as far away as Nashville, where we actually have staffed that programming engineering staff from our Atlanta office. So by and large, though, we are focused on the Georgia marketplace. Okay. And the reason for that is that a lot of the mechanical projects that our mechanical construction group handles are going to be, regionally located right here.
So you got one in particular project you guys are particularly proud of? I know you're proud of all of them, but is there one in particular that was maybe a challenge and you guys overcame it and you're integrating a bunch of stuff?
Eric, over the years, you and I have had the opportunity to work on some marquee projects, and there's two that I immediately come to mind: the Georgia Archive and History Museum, which was, I'll say this, a crown jewel for us with the Honeywell Symmetry product, which was a challenging product, no doubt, but basically it gave us the great opportunity to flex our muscle with our knowledge of integrating lawn and backnet components into a single system. And then by far, to me, the most, I think, crown jewel is the Georgia Aquarium.
Yeah, you guys did
the Georgia Aquarium. Not only did we do the HVAC controls and we get to do the lighting control in it, but we also were deeply involved and are currently deeply involved in the aquatic life support system. Ongoing growth and expansion of that project. So
you can't make any mistakes there.
No,
that's for sure.
No. Fish that don't swim are not a good thing in the Georgia Aquarium.
So, Leroy and Stephen, a big part of our community is owners. You know, they kind of tap in and they've got projects and stuff like that are coming up. What are some common mistakes maybe you see owners make, and how can they prevent it? What advice would you give an owner out there if he's getting ready to do, let's do two different things. A big retrofit project. What suggestions can you make there, and outside of calling you guys? And sure. B, you know, a new construction project. I mean, what are some common mistakes you see? And
you want to sure, absolutely. I mean, I think it starts from the basic communication at the beginning of a project. You've got to get all those players around the table, get everybody singing off the same sheet of music right out of the gate. You talked about our cycle of services a little bit earlier. That's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, is being able to, you know, take a few seats at that table and being able to, because we're so close here within our own company, to right out of the gate to be able to say, here's how we're going to fully work together to execute this product as one strong brand, one strong partner for that company and that customer. So communication right out of the front, making sure everybody knows where you're headed, how long do we get to do this, you know, how can we help you best invest your money so that you're not having any regrets about that project. So
very cool.
You know, careful selection of the team in the beginning. Obviously, you're going to have a design group that's going to be working together. Making sure that you take the time as an owner, as a developer, to articulate specifically needs, you know, the wants, desires, and what outcomes you expect. And then, obviously, it's incumbent upon your integrator, your contractor team, to ask questions that are thought-leading, that are provocative, to help you really fully vet out what those things are. Sure. Because the perfect time to come up with the right ideas is in the beginning. Yeah. So that way everyone is moving down the path with a concise vision in mind. And then the next thing is that to make sure that the product that you choose is a product that you can count on to be available to you for the long term.
As you grow.
Yeah. Buildings don't fall down after 5 years. 15, 20, 30-year life cycle. A lot of these pieces of equipment that we select, be very selective about that equipment. Be very careful about that manufacturer that you choose to make sure that the one that's going to be with you for the long term.
Sure. Very, very cool. You guys have a very impressive website. For our listeners out there, I'm talking with Leroy Walden and Stephen Johnson from McKinney's. They are nominated for the 2015 ControlTalk, the inaugural Systems Integrator of the Year. Wow. Awesome. So you might be first. You never know. So if you like what you see, consider voting for them. Sure. And you can get hold of these guys at www.mckenneys.com.
Nice.
There you go. Thanks, fellas. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Eric.
All right, there we have another week of Control Talk Now, your Smart Abilities videocast and podcast. Hey, man, a special thanks to all our platinum sponsors. A warm welcome to the new platinum sponsors, Allerton, Cochran Supply, Hepta Control Systems. And with that, a special thanks to our guests, Larry Andrianis from Honeywell, Ed Merwin from Tritium, Leroy Walden, and Stephen Johnson from McKinney's. We really appreciate you guys. And with that, Kenny, I'll say have a great week. And remember, stay in control.
Indeed, Eric.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers.